Students, to our first video that you will probably watch this year. We will make many of these. I am very happy that you have joined us for this journey, just like this arrow right here. All right, so the first thing on your practice skill review is going to deal with the distance formula. So you obviously need to memorize this distance formula. So distance is equal to the square root. Bear with me, this is the first video of the year. I will get better at writing. So this is our distance formula that we have to know at any point during this year. Okay, so the distance formula is, so we're going to plug into the distance formula using x1, y1, x2, y2. So plugging into our distance formula, we would get x2. Well, I'm going to call the second pair x2, y2. So that would be 1 minus the x1. That's the first ordered pair, and the x value is 3. So x1 is 3. So 1 minus 3, quantity squared, plus y2, negative 6 in this case, minus a negative 2, so that's going to become a plus 2, quantity squared. So this is going to be equal to the square root of 1 minus 3, which is actually a negative 2, and we will square that, plus negative 6 plus 2, which is a negative 4, quantity squared there. And just be careful, the square root and the squareds do not cancel at this point. You have to keep going inside. So what we're going to have is negative 2 squared, which is 4, a positive 4, and then a positive 16 over here. So you're going to get the square root of 20, of which you have to simplify the radical at this point, and that is a perfect square of root 4 times root 5. So the final answer to this is 2 times the square root of 5 in simplified radical form, because the problem said exact answers please, so that's what we mean by that. Okay, second one here, we have some radicals actually in the problem, so this will be a good review. So what we'll do is the distance is equal to x2 minus x1, so that'll be negative 2 minus 0. Well, minus 0 is just going to be negative 2, so you have to square it. And then we're going to have plus 4 root 3, I'll write this one out, minus 1 root 3, quantity squared. So if you remember with radicals, you can only put like radicals together. So that's actually going to be the same as, and we'll show you here, I'm going to make this actually opposite of 2 squared is just 4, plus, and then I'm going to make this 3 root 3 quantity squared. So just like 4x minus 1x would be 3x, this is 3 root 3. All right, so now to square this, we actually have root 4 still. I'll just keep that going. But when you square a radical, remember that's the same as 3 root 3 times 3 root 3. Well, 3 times 3 is actually just the number 9. Root 3 times root 3 is just the number 3, because it would be root 9, which is 3. So again, squaring that is really taking 9 times 3, which is going to be 27. And then when we put this together, this would be the square root of 31. And I can't simplify that because there's no perfect squares that go into it. Okay, surface level, we're just doing skill review right now. So I'm not explaining these problems in depth like I do in class, but right now just how would you be able to determine whether the ordered pair is a solution? You simply plug it in. So here's my x, here's my y. So let's plug it in. So that would say 2 equals 4 times negative 2. And I'm sorry about my 2's. I do that. Sometimes I write them like this, sometimes I write them like that. I can't fix it, and I apologize. Okay, so moving along, 4x and then plus 6. So 2 is equal to negative 8 plus 6. This is coming out to 2 equals negative 2. This is not a true statement. So be careful. Don't write no solution here. It's kind of a no question. You're basically saying that this ordered pair right up here is not a solution. Okay, if we were to graph that line, this ordered pair would not be on that line. All right, moving along to the next part here. It's a squared, so it's a quadratic, but you still plug it in and see if it comes out to be true. So x squared, so that would be the opposite of 1 squared plus 5 equals 6 times my y value of 3 halves. And then I'm going to subtract 3. So the opposite of 1 squared is really 1 plus 5. And is that equal to, well, this here, it's really 6 over 1. So 6 over 2 would be 3 over 1. That would really be 9 minus 3. So it looks like we're getting 6 equals 6. So yes, a solution, because we came out to an answer that was true. Okay, so that's it for the first page. Let's move on to the next part here, the next learning target. Students will be able to calculate x and y intercepts by hand. All right, so the x-intercept is the value of something when the value of y is something else. All right, so the x-intercept is the value of, well, the y value is going to be 0, so this is going to be the x. Oops, sorry, just x makes sense there. So the x-intercept is the value of x when the value of y is 0. The y-intercept is the value of y when the value of x is 0. Okay, so what you're going to do here is you're going to just simply find the x and the y-intercept. So to find the x-intercept for this one, I'm going to label this quickly here. The x-intercept is the x value when y is 0. So if you look in here, if I put in a 0 for y, all I'm going to be left with here is 2x equals 12. 3 times 0 is 0, so 2x equals 12. It's also called the cover-up method. So x is equal to 6. So my ordered pair answer would be 6, 0. All right, and then to find the y-intercept of this one, we would do the opposite. Put a 0 in for x. So that's going to leave us with a 3y equal to 12. And then when we solve it, we get y equals negative 4. Please write your answers as ordered pairs 0, negative 4. Okay, and the next one a little bit tricky because the x-intercept and the y-intercept, when we look for that, we actually have a quadratic here. So there could be more than one intercept. X-intercept is when I put in 0 for y. So this is the trickier one. 0 equals 2x squared minus 6. Add 6 to both sides. 6 equals 2x squared. So dividing by 2, we would get x squared equals 3. Well, oh, sorry, something jumped there. I apologize. Let me get back. All right, so x squared equals 3. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides, but what you got to understand here, and if we were to look at a graph, you'd see this, that x is actually two possible answers, plus or minus the square root of 3. So if I were to write my answers to this, I would say root 3, comma 0. And the other one would be negative root 3, comma 0. Okay, and the y-intercept is really easy. In fact, if you literally look at this one, if you put in a 0 for x, that will cancel this out and give you a negative 6. So the y-intercept is 0, negative 6.